This week it's a video I don't want to make, but I gotta stay on track with the rest of the season, and yeah, we're gonna run through the 4 games that took place this weekend. We're gonna go in order of the games and how they went. Starting out with the first matchup of the AFC, it was the Jaguars and the Chiefs, and as you can see right here, the Chiefs won that game. I picked 3 out of 4 of these games right. You can imagine the one that I did pick wrong is the one I'm most upset about. Chiefs got the win here despite, Mahomes dealing with a high ankle sprain. He said he's going to be okay for the game on Sunday, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. This entire team didn't play all that bad. They were able to slow down Trevor Lawrence and the Jags at home for the most part. Made the Jaguars turn the ball over. And again, despite the fact that, Patrick Mahomes was dealing with a high ankle sprain, this Chiefs team was still able to get the job done. And I'm pretty sure he got 2, maybe 3 touchdowns. But overall, the Chiefs were able to get the job done and pull out the win at home. For the Jags, they looked like they were getting cooked defensively. All right, both losing teams on the AFC side, their defenses got torched by KC and Cincinnati. Whoops. But overall, the Jags, they should be proud of where they're at. All right, nobody expected this team. Close to nobody expected this team to make the divisional round, or even have a shot at the Super Bowl. I don't know if anybody predicted them winning the AFC South. I'm sure some people did, but not the entire nation. A lot of people were thinking either Colts or Titans, and neither of those teams were there. But the Jags, they gotta be happy. They have their franchise QB in Trevor Lawrence. They've got, a young defense. They've got a young overall team, and they're getting Calvin Ridley next year. That Jaguars team is going to be scary. So for Jacksonville, yeah, your season's done. But overall, you got to be very, very pleased with how things went. Plus, you didn't get blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs. Next up, we got a team that did get blown out. It was the Giants at the Eagles. I figured the Eagles would win this game, but I didn't think they'd blow them out 38-7. Wow. The Eagles, they made it seem like that defense was, that overall team, they weren't dealing with injuries. They look like the Eagles of old. They look like the Eagles that we thought would go to the Super Bowl. But then everybody started picking the Niners, and it's very possible that the Niners and Brock Purdy do make it to the Super Bowl, but it's also very possible right now that the Eagles make the Super Bowl. Not that it wasn't possible before, but this matchup was inevitable. The Eagles winning and going to the NFC Championship game was inevitable, and the 49ers going to the NFC Championship game was pretty inevitable as well. You kind of figured this matchup was coming. The scriptwriters do a great job. But overall, the Eagles did a fantastic job limiting the Giants and their grocery store clerks for wide receivers. Saquon didn't have a bad game. He had a few big rushes, but he didn't have a touchdown. And overall, it wasn't the Giants' night. But outside of that blowout loss to Philadelphia, much like Jacksonville, nobody expected you guys to make the playoffs, let alone get to the divisional round. And you guys, you got blown out by the Eagles, but you took down a 3 seed in the Vikings, and you scored points in the divisional round. At least you didn't get shut out. So there's something. The Giants got to be very happy with where they're at. They got a great guy in Brian Daboll, and I think this Giants team is one really elite receiver away from being a menace in the NFC. And next up, we got the game that, yeah. I'm going to go out and say it. We got our butts kicked. I'm not going to sit here and, there are a million excuses I could use. I'm not going to say any of them. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We got absolutely raped by the Bengals. Pause. That came out wrong, but the Bengals, they just owned us the entire game. The entire game. They imposed their will on us. And the Bills couldn't do anything about it. It was fine for the first half, but then the second half started and it just wasn't clicking. The Bills had the ball to start the second half, and I mean, they came away with 3 points. You're not going to beat a team like the Bengals or the Chiefs by scoring field goals or freaking 10 points. It was 17-7 going into the half. I don't know. That Jamar Chase, the second one that should have been called a touchdown, that was originally called a touchdown, but then was called incomplete. That's a very controversial call that really didn't matter at the end of the game because the Bengals already whooped the Buffalo. The Bengals jumped out to a 14-0 lead, scoring in their first 2 possessions. Bills, they didn't score a single point in their first 2 possessions, but then that Bills defense got a much-needed stop, and the Bills marched down the field and got a touchdown. And then the Bengals scored a field goal, and then Buffalo punted and couldn't do anything. So it was 17-7 at the half, which, I mean, it's like, okay, that's not bad. Buffalo has a chance. They can come back. They got a field goal and made it a 1-score game, but after that, the Bengals, they dominated us in all 3 phases. I mean, offensively, we got spanked. Their defense had every edge on us. I mean, when you're throwing the ball on 3rd and 2, like 40 yards down the field, like, you're going to get beat. Why were we still doing that, Dorsey? Jesus, dude. Run the ball. I don't care if it's with Josh. I don't care if it's with James. I don't care if it's with Devin. I don't care if it's you got to bring Nyheim Hines. I don't care if you need to bring in me. I will pick up those 2 yards. Tell me where to run, and I will run that way. I will pick up that first down for you. I will put my body in the line for you guys. This was inexcusable. Inexcusable. All the excuses that we could have used, like, you know, obviously injuries, the emotional state, the situation with DeMar Hamlin, whatever. None of that matters. None of that matters. Cincinnati was dealing with adversity as well. They overcame it, and we didn't. At the end of the day, we got our butts kicked, and Cincinnati's moving on to the next round. And to be quite frank, I haven't lost faith in my Bills. Next season, I think they can go out and do great things. Do I think they can, make the playoffs again? Absolutely. Do I think they'll have a winning record? Absolutely. Do I think they have a shot at winning the Super Bowl next year? Absolutely. Every team does. But I mean, I just don't feel as close to a Super Bowl now as I did, last year. Last year, I just felt like, coming into this year, like after we lost to the Chiefs, I'm like, we're going to win it all next year. We got it. We're emotionally driven. We got this. Nope. We get a taste of our own medicine and we get beat down by Cincinnati. It wasn't close in the second half. We got a field goal, made it a 1-score game, and then Cincinnati pulled away and won by 3 scores. So you're not going to win by putting up 10 points, guys. And Leslie Frazier's play calling was, dude. This is probably one of the worst games that I've seen as a Bills fan, next to Bills Colts or Saints Bills. I mean, dude, this was absolutely inexcusable. It was inexcusable. And I have absolutely no doubts that, obviously the losses of Hyde and Miller affected our defensive play, but still, overall, we finished as, a top 15, top 10 unit in the league, and we get scorched by the Bengals. We went 13-3, and we didn't play like it. We played like we were 3-13, not 13-3. Dude, the Bills are literally just the AFC Vikings, okay? Both put together really great seasons, and then they choke in the playoffs. Plus, we both have 4 Super Bowl losses, so that checks out. Some people might say we're the Green Bay Packers of the AFC, or the Dallas Cowboys of the NFC, or of the AFC. Excuse me. We'll get to the Cowboys game in just a second. But dude, this conference from here on out runs through Cincinnati and Kansas City, and until Buffalo does something about it, that's not going to change. I'm sorry. I want to say that my Bills are the best team in the AFC, but they haven't proven that yet. They haven't beaten Cincinnati or Kansas City in the playoffs. They haven't even beaten Cincinnati once. But to be fair, they've only gotten to play one full game. They only played 1.5 games against, actually, not even 1.25. Just one playoff game. And I mean, yeah, they've beaten the Chiefs before in Arrowhead, but that was not in the playoffs. They did it when it didn't matter. So for me, it's we can't say that we're the best team. Allen can't say he's better than Burrow or Mahomes until he's beaten them and he's won a Super Bowl. He can't say that yet. I know he's not saying it, but I can't say Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. Would I start a franchise with him? Abso-freaking-lutely. I think anybody would be lucky to have him. Just limit the turnovers and you got a close to perfect quarterback. But I mean, until he beats Burrow and until he beats Mahomes, I mean, or until he beats one of the two and advances further than both of them, I don't see a scenario where you can say Allen is the best QB in the league anymore. Next season, Burrow is probably going to win the MVP. That's just my take. I think this year it's going to go to Mahomes, and the next year it'll probably go to Joe Burrow, or who knows, maybe Tua comes out of the blue. Maybe Tua Tagovailoa comes out of the blue and he avoids concussion protocol and he wins MVP. I don't freaking know, dude. I'd like to think Allen will win at some point, but I mean, I can only hope for so long. Buffalo, I would say you guys had a great season, which I mean, you did. You did better than 75% of the league, but when you have Super Bowl aspirations and you get knocked out in the same round you did a season ago, I mean, that's just kind of underwhelming. It really and truly is. Like, you're hearing that come from a Bills fan, that this was an underwhelming season. We underperformed hard. We underperformed significantly compared to what other people wanted. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about the Bengals and the Bills game and how disappointing we were. So, sorry you guys had to watch that game. Last stuff, we got, the Cowboys and the 49ers, and this is exactly what I expected. Cowboys pulled the Buffalo Bills. Pause. But the Cowboys, I mean, look, they did the same thing last year. Their defense didn't play bad, yeah. They held the Niners to, 19 points? Prescott turned the ball over twice. I mean, it's like, what the hell? Allen didn't even turn it over twice. So, why? What the hell happened to the Cowboys? They do this every year. They do this every year, man. I mean, they're basically the Bills just with 5 Super Bowl rings. They did the same thing last year in the sense that, they had a stupid play at the end of the game. You went for a QB sneak with 14 seconds to go and no timeouts last year. And then this year, I get, you're not going to be able to throw the ball 74 yards unless you're Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or maybe even Joe Burrow. And I get Dak Prescott doesn't have that kind of arm. But, I mean, that's just, that play was what was that? You have Zeke line up as your center, and then you throw it to a receiver just for him to get tackled? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. But I mean, hey, Brett Maher actually made some field goals. He had an extra point that was blocked, but I mean, hey, he was making field goals. So, I mean, even if they were kind of chip shot field goals, I mean, he was making kicks. That's the important thing. So now he doesn't have to worry about losing his job. Yeah, Cowboys, again, I mean, you guys made it further than you did last year, so I would say this was a good season. I would definitely say this was a good season for Dallas and for San Fran. Congratulations. Back to the NFC Championship game. And this is literally the same setup as last year. Bengals, Chiefs last year, except the Bengals are the 3 seed and the Chiefs are the 1 seed. And the Niners are the 2 seed and not the 6 seed. And this is the Philadelphia Eagles as opposed to the LA Rams. And we actually have a 1 seed. Oh, that was my dog. She just opened my door. But yeah, I'm going to stop it right here, guys. Let me know what you thought of these games in the comments below. And with that being said, if you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're new and click that notification bell to get all the latest news on all my latest content. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video for my championship picks. Peace.